Hey everyone, this is Hayes, and I just wanted to hop in at the top here real quick and say a few things. Firstly, welcome to the podcast, and I hope that you enjoy what we're talking about today, the MCU Spider-Man trilogy and the state of the MCU as a whole. Secondly, this is our first time doing something like this, so just bear with us while we figure things out. And this was also recorded a few months ago, so some of the references or content may be a little outdated, and that's on me as the quote editor unquote. So my bad, I'll try to be better about that in the future. But that's all I wanted to say, so enjoy the next hour or so of us talking. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. So Dallas, my esteemed co-host, what do you think of the Spider-Man MCU trilogy? What are your general thoughts?
Absolutely garbage. No, I'm just kidding. It's definitely the best trilogy out of all the Toby and Andrew.
I agree, especially because Andrew's wasn't a trilogy.
Well, okay, it could have been a trilogy, but out of all the live action movies, I mean, I think it's the best. I think he has like the best mix of like Spider-Man, Peter Parker vibes. Plus, he actually has, I guess, development, whereas the other two didn't have much. And since he's tied to MCU, he has more depth to his character. It feels like.
Yeah, he's just not like his own. Like,
he's not just alone,
isolated universe.
He has like a world that he's been built into.
Yeah, which they kind of hinted at in Toby's too, with the Doctor Strange reference.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of that, but it's not been shown.
Yeah. No, I kind of feel the same way. I mean, in the context of just the three of them on their own, without watching Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War, all that, I think it's a really good origin story because it is his origin story for the MCU. Like,
yeah, they don't spend an entire movie just like, oh, I got bit by a spider for the 10th time.
Right.
Like,
we've seen it so many times.
That shit's boring. Like, move on.
Yeah, we get a fast track on like the basics, so it's like, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. He has to learn to like actually be Spider-Man, because when we first find him in Civil War, he's just doing little shit like stopping muggings and stuff like that. Each movie, I would say there's a definitive lesson that kind of you can see in the overarching story. Like in Homecoming, he's got to learn that he's worthy to be like Spider-Man without all the tech and the gadgets and all that. And he has to learn patience. And like Far From Home, he learns like he has to step up to the plate whether he wants to or not, and trust his decision-making tactics, which, you know, he fails with Mysterio. And then No Way Home, he has to learn how to like make the sacrifice and do the greater good and like just keep moving forward no matter what.
Yeah, like I think their core Spider-Man movies, similar to like comics and like the old shows where they tie in all that. Yeah. I think they do it better than the other live action movies.
Yeah.
But like going forward, I'm definitely really interested to see how they handle that, since no one knows who he is anymore. So he's kind of going back to potentially small level crimes or like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man type vibe. Really want him to have actual Venom in MCU and have that be like the main threat that gets built up to within the next trilogy.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think they really need to do a symbiote arc for the next three.
Let me ask you with that. I mean, we do get that tease at the end of Far From Home with Tom Hardy getting left behind and all that shit. Do you think they'll stick to the comic roots and do it during Secret Wars? Like maybe that's where it happens? Or do you think they'll
Venom coming?
Venom, getting like the black suit?
I don't know. Like, I don't really know where they're gonna go with it. I mean, obviously, Tom Holland's a little reluctant of playing Spider-Man, he said, but he still isn't against it. So if they do keep doing that, I think that should be like the main focus, is tying in the symbiotes, and not just Venom and Carnage. I think they need to kind of make a little mini world out of it.
Yeah, they've only got so much time with Tom Holland, so, and he said he's not going to play him until he's like well into his 30s. He'll probably be done after this next set of movies, to be honest. So yeah, do it now, do it right.
Because, I mean, like, what else is the big bads, you know? Like, we have Green Goblin. I don't think they're going to add a Green Goblin of the MCU, since they brought in Toby's Goblin and had him, like, be really impactful for Andrew. Or not Andrew, but...
For Tom.
For Tom.
Yeah. Kind of agree with that. Like to see, like, a Goblin and a Doc Ock in the MCU, but I doubt we'll get it. If we get it, it'll probably be with Miles if they ever bring him in. But for future villains, I think a good one, since the whole like memory erasure stuff, they should have Ned be the Hobgoblin, because he is in the comics and he doesn't know who Peter is right now. So, you know, just maybe say like he fucks him up someday and, you know, I'm gonna kill Spider-Man, and becomes a Hobgoblin.
I just like don't ever see Ned becoming that, because like Ned's just way too down to earth and too kind. Also, I feel like his character would have to do a complete 180 and just change everything about him, which would no longer make him Ned.
That's true, I guess.
I don't know that would fit well.
I guess that's kind of the fault of them making Ned more like the Genki character for Miles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could see it not working, but that was just a thought I had where they could go that route. I want to see Black Cat, and I want to see him do a romance with Black Cat, because I'm not a huge fan of the MJ in this, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it opens up to that since MJ doesn't remember fully. I mean, she didn't have that little hint though.
Yeah, I just hope they ignore that for like a movie or two and then bring it back later.
Yeah,
Like I want
definitely.
him to
Like they
get
need
into some
to.
other shit.
Yeah, they need to show the full effect of no one remembering who he is.
Yeah.
Like maybe in like the third movie, she fully remembers. Like at the end of the second one, she starts to remember.
That's what I was thinking too. Like first movie just without her. Second movie maybe like halfway through they bring her in and they kind of like hint at it, and then by the third movie that's when they like actually like,
Yeah.
oh, I remember who you are now.
That actually like have some sort of like love triangle or make him pick or something. I don't know. But I definitely just want to see symbiote like arc with like Venom, Carnage, and all the other ones come in. I think that would be like the best step, especially like you said, like he's not gonna play it forever.
Right.
So why not have like some of his like best villains come in?
Yeah, and it's not that we'll never get a Spider-Man again. We're gonna.
No,
get
they'll
him.
definitely like Sony's gonna have their own.
Right. Then there'll be
know?
an MCU reboot at some point, and we'll get it eventually. But I really like Tom in the role, so I would like to see it with him doing it.
Yeah.
That's my only thing. And yeah, now would be the perfect time to do it.
Especially since you could maybe do like a symbiote Wolverine or like Hulk, you know, like wink wink.
Yeah, you could put the symbiote on someone else too. For the villains in his three movies, I don't know how to feel about it. I like that we got, Vulture and Mysterio, two really popular villains, but then with the Sinister Six, even though it was 5 in this, I don't really like it. And then being multiversal, I didn't really vibe with it.
I think Vulture was a great starter character for him to go against.
Agreed.
I think that vibe was really good, especially since Vulture turned up to be kind of nice or like forgiving for Peter since he saved his life.
Right.
And then going into Mysterio, I love Mysterio. I think he was so well done. I know people don't like him with like him not actually having powers and he's just a tech and he's too related to Tony. But I think they did it so well that it worked. Because like we still don't know. Like he could be dead or not dead. Like you actually don't know that.
Yeah, I agree. And I had a specific note about that too. I think Mysterio, like his whole general thing, like him being a special effects artist and all that, it works so much better in the modern day than if you think about like the 60s, 70s where like effects weren't that good. So he actually worked perfect for me.
Yeah, like he actually shows like what you could do with their technology that they have in the universe versus like, oh, he has powers, you know.
Oh, he's
a wizard.
Making an illusion with a screen. Oh.
Like I think it is really well done. Plus the drones were actually a threat.
Yeah.
And then going into like the third movie, I agree it didn't feel as impactful since they weren't MCU villains that had been led up to the Sinister Six. It definitely would have liked to see like Rhino be in there. Rhino and Lizard I think they're core members.
But it'd better to get like a proper Sinister Six with the characters from his movies, because we have Vulture, who's in prison. We have Scorpion, who's in the first one, is in prison with Vulture. Last time we saw Shocker was in the bus yard. We don't know what happened to him. And then there's a couple spots to fill. We could see the Rhino, we could see Kingpin, and then like I said, we could see a MCU Doc Ock or Green Goblin, but I doubt we get those. But it would have been so much more impactful to have the villains come back from his movies as opposed to the nostalgia fest of, hey, here it's Toby's and Andrew's villains, and now they're fighting all three of them.
So yeah, I mean, they could still do their own Sinister Six in the MCU, right. But I just don't think it's likely to happen since they kind of touched on that.
Yeah, I agree, which is, I'm a little disappointed with that, but whatever. Is there anything you'd like more about Tom in the role versus Toby and Andrew? I like Tom in the role overall better, but I do agree Toby is a better nerd. Like he's a better Peter Parker than Tom. He's just like so geeky and goofy.
Yeah, I think... See, I feel like people are way too on the nostalgia train for Tobey's Spider-Man. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I loved that shit as a kid. You know, I grew up with it. It was obviously great for the time it came out. But, like, going back and rewatching him, dude, they're so cheesy. Like, they're over cheesy. Mm-hmm. Especially, like, the third one. Like, I can't with the third movie. It's so bad. But the first two, like, aren't awful. I think he does a great job of the nerd and, like, more scientist Peter Parker. I wasn't a huge fan of his Spider-Man. He felt too clunky, which, I mean, I guess that's kind of given to the time it was made of the movies. I really like Andrew's Spider-Man, like, the way he fights and, like, actually, like, taunts his villains. Yeah. I think that was, like, a perfect kind of, like, comic book version of Spider-Man into the live action. I think he does it the best, the way he moves and fights and taunts. Wasn't a huge fan of his Peter Parker. He was just too much of a cool guy. It doesn't really fit Peter that much.
Yeah, he was like a skater boy when he was supposed to be, like, a science nerd.
Yeah, he's like that cool geek, which Peter's never really been. I think Tom, just overall, like I said, like he takes kind of both the best worlds and mixes them together.
Yeah, agreed. Like I had the same exact notes you said. Like I said, Toby is good at being like an uber nerd, and Andrew, the fluidity of his movements while he's swinging and fighting is just like so good.
Yeah, it's definitely
superbly better.
But yeah, I think it's neat. I think going forward, he'll probably play another trilogy, another set. I have no idea what they're going to do for villains. And they kind of hinted at symbiotes, so hopefully that's the direction they take it, because I think that's the best way to do it. But I mean, I guess we'll see with Secret Wars, and if they do actually kind of do a soft reboot of the MCU, maybe they just replace them right then and there.
Possibly.
Which would be unfortunate, but not much you can do about it, I guess.
Well, hold on, let's think for a second. Is that supposed to be his last movie? And we know he's got, I think he signed up for 6 more movies. He's got another trilogy coming, so that's 3. And then I think he's supposed to show maybe in like a Daredevil or something, which would be 1. And then Secret Wars would be 2. So that could be his last movie if he comes up in something before that. So they could just replace him right on the spot there. Be like, oh, hey, this is the new Spider-Man. I don't know how much I would like that, but I could see them doing it.
Yeah, kind of like the Flash, where they just show up like, oh, that movie's trash, but like like the Bruce Wayne just show up and he's like, who are you?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, I'm Bruce. No, you're not. Like, I hope they don't do it like that, but
I don't agree with the Flash like way of doing it, because I'm still confused. It didn't like fix anything for me.
No, that movie's trash. DC's trash. But
yeah,
like,
agreed.
I'm saying like they could do it like that, where they just show up and like, hey, I'm Bruce.
Yeah.
Or hey, I'm Peter Parker.
Yeah, they go, who the hell is this guy? Oh, Peter Parker.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess no one really knows him, so they have that option at the moment.
A whole logistical nightmare about that. So, like, does he not have a birth certificate, social security number? Like, how does that work? I don't understand.
I remember that being brought up at the time, but I don't know. That's some plot holes right there.
As far as the movies themselves, I want to say I think the casting, they killed it. I love Michael Keaton. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal plays a perfect Mysterio, like asshole traitors type of vibe, and then getting all the villains back for the original movies. Like, I just thought casting was killed it in this, and then JJJ is back, baby.
Oh yeah, that was great. Like, that's awesome having him back.
Yeah.
But that's MCU. Like, MCU does a really good casting job for the most part.
I agree.
I guess kind of like moving on. Like, what do you think about Phase 4 going forward?
Yeah, let's talk about
its entirety.
I'm a little mixed, because I did like some of the stuff they did early on, like WandaVision, Loki, Shang-Chi, and some of the stuff they did recently, not all of it, but like Guardians, that shit was good. Secret Invasion was just a shit show. Wakanda Forever was okay. So mixed feelings. The biggest issue I have with it is too many loose ends. It feels like every movie they introduce something, and then we haven't heard shit about it for 2-3 years now.
Yeah, they just don't touch on it again.
Which I think will change. It's just kind of annoying at this moment, because everything's disconnected and you're like, where is this even going?
Yeah, Phase 4 is definitely incredibly weak compared to everything else MCU's offered, which, I mean, I guess part of it is due to they're just trying to pump out too much content, which horrible writing in a lot of these shows and like a lot of these movies and TV shows they did. I think it also comes down to a little bit of burnout from the MCU, which I guess directly results back to them just pumping out too much.
Yeah, I can agree with that. A movie every other month with the show in between, it's just a lot of content to keep up with.
Right, and like, I'm all for it, but at a certain point, it's like, you kind of got to slow it down so fans can take a little bit of a break, catch a breather, and then get interested in it again. Because like what they're doing right now, it's just like, a lot of people are kind of getting burned out. I mean, the box offices are speaking for that, because less people are going to these movies right now compared to other movies that are in the office.
Oh yeah, I used to go to every movie, and I haven't gone in probably 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's just burnout mixed with terrible writing, and then like you're like, okay, well, this one movie wasn't great, but it's like, sometimes you have a hit or miss or dud movie, so then you go to the next one and it's like, okay, this kind of sucked too, and then you watch the one of their new Disney Plus shows and you're like, yeah, this kind of sucked too, and then like you have 3 shows or movies back to back where they all are just bummers, and you're like, am I really still excited for this? Like, do I really want more of this right now? And it kind of leaves like a bad taste in your mouth that makes you want to step back from it a little bit. At least that's how I've been feeling. Like, after watching like Falcon and Winter Soldier, I was like, okay, that was really boring, but like whatever. And then Multiverse of Madness, I was like, it wasn't bad, but didn't feel like it really left anything exciting for me. Love and Thunder, like I liked a little bit of it, but for the most part, I was like, yeah, that really sucked compared to other things, but like Loki, like season 1, I really liked that. That was great. And Hawkeye, that was also really great. Black Widow sucked. Like, that movie's awful. Shang-Chi, I really liked that. That was a chill movie. That was a good movie. I think that was probably one of the best out of Phase 4.
Yeah, that's probably my top Phase 4 movie, just because it was so like unexpected. I mean, it is, because all the other ones are kind of shit. I mean, Black Widow I thought was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but I liked David Harbour.
It felt
Florence
so
Pugh,
cringy to me, and like it had so many like bad like CGI moments, and like the story felt really weak to me, and like half of it I just didn't care. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm just like I didn't feel any connection with the characters, if I'm gonna be honest. Which I mean I get, like it's not gonna happen with every movie, but it felt very weak for me.
That movie also was kind of odd in that we already knew she's gone. So what else do we have to learn that we don't know already? And I guess they kind of pulled it off, but I agree. Like, yeah, we know what's going to happen, and she's going to get out of it fine. The biggest thing was supporting characters. What's happening with supporting characters? Yeah,
and then like the I forget her name, the blonde girl that's also the Black Widow, and she's pretty much just gonna be the new Black Widow.
Yelena.
It's kind of boring. Yeah, like I have nothing against that character, but it's just kind of boring, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, that makes me think that's kind of been a problem with all of them. It's like they're just introducing their replacement. Hawkeye has Kate Bishop, which I like Kate Bishop. Falcon and Winter Soldier, there's a new Falcon. Obviously, he's the new Cap. WandaVision introduces their kids. Let's see, Shang-Chi kind of his own thing, has set up itself. I don't know. I just feel like they've been a lot of introducing like replacement characters.
Yeah, and then like the America chick in Multiverse, like she's kind of like being a little bit of a Doctor Strange. She's in training. Which, like, there's nothing wrong with introducing the new characters and potentially having some take their place. It's just how they're doing it is really boring, and it makes it feel like the character they're replacing is happening like right now. Like, feels like the next movie they're dying off and they're being replaced, which I think is bad from a viewer's standpoint, because the character should, like, you should never know when the character is going to die. Like, unless it's just been hardcore leaked, like, you should never know when a character is about to be replaced. Like, it should just happen and you should be left, like, devastated. You're like, holy shit.
You want there to be emotional impact.
Like, Tony just fucking died from the snap. Like, no fucking way. Like, and he had no replacement set up. Like, yeah, he had Spider-Man really close, but not a replacement.
Which they address in the movies, too.
Yeah, like, you know, that was, like, everyone was crying at that shit. And, like, Cap, like, you know, yeah, he handed the shield to Falcon at the end. He hinted at the replacement. And then it happened down the road. Like, with Falcon and Winter Soldier, it started to happen. It wasn't, like, an instant thing, and it wasn't something that was being set up. It just kind of happened as he was leaving.
Right.
So I feel like that's a proper way of doing it versus just, here's this new character. Guess what? You're replacing me.
That's the key. Yeah. Setup. With him, yeah, they set it up. They gave him the shield at the end, and then you wait, I don't know, maybe like 6 months for the show to come out, and then you go through the 6 episodes, and by the end, he is the new Captain America. Now, he still has to prove he has what it takes to be Captain America in his new movie, so...
Which he doesn't.
I'm expecting that they'll try to bridge that, but the problem I have with it is one, like, I'm going to take She-Hulk as an example. I know your favorite.
Oh, yeah.
Like, with her, they do it the wrong way, where episode 1, she just gets blood, and she gets Hulk's blood in her.
Yeah, like
She-Hulk. That's a poor, like, and that is how it happens in the comics too. Like, she needs a blood transfusion she gets from Bruce because
she was just too good at being She-Hulk too soon, I guess.
Right.
If that's what you're trying to say.
I mean, yes and no. Like, she does get it right away, which is kind of annoying because Hulk. It's more so just she's handed powers. She doesn't have to go through anything. Kate Bishop is a good one. She's an amazing archer. She idolizes Hawkeye. She ends up meeting him eventually, and that's how she springboards into the hero life. She-Hulk's just fucking handed it. Like, oh, you're driving in the car with Hulk and you got blood. Okay, you're a Hulk now.
Yeah, that's a little
good
goofy.
Luck. And like, what's another
Especially
one
since she had literally zero like introduction beforehand in the MCU. Oh, you're my cousin, but hey, you're not introduced until now. Like,
yeah.
I don't even think her name was ever mentioned, was it, in any of the past movies?
No, I don't think they've ever alluded to her or anything.
Yeah, which again, you didn't have to like show her at the time because obviously you didn't have the actress cast then, and you don't know what's gonna happen. But you could hint at her name, like he could have name dropped her.
You could have mentioned,
like, oh, you should go visit our cousin, you know, or my cousin. Like, you know, like, she's a lawyer, like she can help us get out of this situation, maybe.
That
you know,
work. I was gonna say maybe during the Sokovia Accords, but he wasn't on Earth at that point. But I would say another example of that is Cassie Lang with Ant-Man. All of a sudden, she's stature or whatever you want to call it.
Right, and like the thing is like she goes like the giant form in the movie, which has been like explained in the previous movies. It takes a lot of training, and it's been shown by Scott that it's not something you can easily do.
Right.
And she just does it with ease. Also, she takes her helmet off, which was explained like that's a huge no-no, and you'll probably die if you do that when you're that big.
Yeah, aren't you not supposed to take the helmet off if you're shrunken at all anyway?
Yeah, it's like I don't fully remember because it's been a little bit, but I remember like if you take the helmet off when you're big, like you're dead or like the suit's compromised. Like it helps keep you like alive and intact.
Yeah. I don't know about the MCU, but I know at least in other media, it is like a point where he can't even use his powers if he doesn't have the helmet on. So
Yeah, like, and she just like takes it off while she's in the giant mode and does it with ease. I'm like, so you're just completely ignoring the character's like strengths and weaknesses from before? Like, that's stupid. It takes away.
Yeah, no, I agree. I want to ask about the special presentations. We only got 2 of them, but I want to know how you feel about them and their future and etc. Did you like Werewolf by Night and the Guardians holiday special?
Okay, holiday special for Guardians, I thought it was cute. Like, I think it was nice to have a little bit of extra content and to see kind of them doing like a side quest with Kevin Bacon. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, it was nothing crazy. It was neat. It was cute. It was just a little bit of fan service. But I think it was fine for what it was. Werewolf by Night, I thought it was cool. Like they went into like kind of like an old black and white type movie era, and a little bit of horror, which I think is really cool. More seriousness, a little bit, which is something the MCU needs to start adding more of because they're going way off track with that. Everything's way too goofy and like jokey now, which I don't like. But I thought they were decent. They weren't anything crazy, but they weren't bad.
Okay. I like them. I think we should see more of them because I feel like they're the best way to do like an intro origin story like they did with Werewolf by Night. And I prepared an example for us. So there's been talks for going back to 2017 probably where everyone's, oh, Nova's going to come into the MCU and nothing's ever happened to it. Then there was the rumors of a show, and then there's rumors of a special presentation, and now it's just up in the air. I think they said it was canceled. But I think a Nova short movie / special presentation would be perfect because you make it about 30, 45 minutes long. You don't have to sit through a whole 6 episodes weekly and waste your time like you did with Secret Invasion. You just get the basics and maybe a starting point for him to show up in another movie. So like in my example, let's just say he picks up right after Thanos' attack on Xandar. You know, they show him finding the Centurion helmet and maybe some rubble, or he's on a spaceship and everyone else is dying. He's the last one, you know, yada yada. And then he stumbles upon some skirmish in another planet whenever he gets the Centurion helmet. So that's a chance for him to showcase his abilities, maybe show what he's about, and then you can end it with him just flying off into space and then he runs into the new Guardians team. Like, I think that's the perfect way to handle that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good way to introduce characters if you're not going to instantly like put them into a movie. Because like you said, you don't have to sit through an entire like 8 episodes
like
a season. You don't have to wait every day.
Miss Marvel or like the TV show as it is, or just a short 30 to 45 minute presentation?
Just introduce her with like a 40-minute like one-off episode. Like that's completely fine. Like she's not a big enough character to warrant an entire series or a solo movie, at least not yet. But yeah, like I think that's a good way to introduce lower tier characters. Nova, personally, for me, I would love to see a full-on movie of him.
Right, I was just using him as an example because I know he's been talked about forever, and I'm like, this is the perfect way to do it because we know Xandar's gone. He has to find the Centurion helmet, and then you just have him go to another planet, see some people fighting. He helps out and says, "I'm Nova," and then he flies off, and then you bring him back whenever you want. You know,
yeah, I think that works for like your smaller characters.
Do that for Black Knight. We got him in Eternals briefly. You know, show him fucking around with the sword for 30 minutes, and then he shows him Blade next or something like that.
Yeah, like it's definitely like an appropriate way to handle like your lesser characters.
Yeah, I agree with that. And touch on a point you made. I feel like the MCU as a whole is getting too jokey. Yeah,
every character is just a joke character. Like everyone is. Thor, like in Love and Thunder, like he's just nothing but a joke character now, which part of the reason why that kind of sucked. I just feel like there's no serious characters now. Like Tony's gone, his serious character's out. Cap's gone, like his serious character's out, which I mean Falcon's a serious character.
Yeah.
But I mean, what other characters are really left that are serious that aren't portrayed as a jokey, like non-serious?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely depends on the character. I'm looking through the list here. I mean, we got Loki. He does this comedy pretty well, though. He's kind of serious, though, right?
Yeah, like he's a mix of serious, but he's also a comedic character. So I mean, he's always been that way. So like, I get that. Spider-Man's always like a mix. He's not a super serious unless it comes down to it.
Yeah, I mean, like even the characters you think would be serious, Moon Knight is taken comedically.
I get it. Like you want people to laugh because, you know, it's funny and it draws an audience in more. You have kids come in that are laughing. They remember the phrases they use and they try to reuse them. I get that. But at a certain point, you gotta stop like injecting comedic relief into every character because it starts to ruin it and it starts to make it like, oh, well, these characters don't really care what's going on because they're joking about the entire city being destroyed or they're joking about like lives being lost and they're not taking it serious and they're joking about themselves like dying or like, who cares if you really lose, guys? Like, insert punchline here, haha. I want it to be lives are at stake. We could potentially die. we might not even win. Like, and the outcome could be even worse for everyone around us. Like, make it serious, have the moments be serious, and, you know, inject a little bit of funny puns or like some adult humor or some, you know, something that will catch you off guard. You're like, oh, that's actually a pretty funny catch line. And then back to seriousness, you know?
Yeah.
Like Ragnarok did it really well where they kind of mixed it all together, and it ended up being like easily the best Thor movie. Like the other three are just like not even close to being what Ragnarok is.
The first two are in a different league of their own.
Yeah, and like think of like Tony, like how he was portrayed, like super sarcastic, you know, character.
That's his character.
Yeah, like Tony, you know, like I mean, comic version Tony was like a mega asshole, you know, like.
Yeah.
But then in MCU, he's still a little bit of an asshole, but super sarcastic and comedic. But like he does the comedic lines in a way that it's funny and also serious at the same time. Part of the reason why, you know, like everyone loves Robert Downey Jr. because he played that role perfectly, and like the way that Tony was written was a huge upgrade from previous versions. But I feel like other characters are being downgraded because they're all just comedic reliefs at this point, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, I feel like them making Scott Lang's Ant-Man the comedic relief was kind of weird because he's always traditionally had like a pretty serious story. Like daughter has cancer, he's forced to steal because has to provide for her, and this now he's just some goof.
Yeah, and
but
again,
it works
like,
as Paul Rudd. But like, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
They just take characters and they're like, okay, well, this guy has to be funny now.
There's just too many funny characters. Like, what happens when all the characters are the comedic reliefs? Then are any of them the comedic reliefs at that point? You know, like,
yeah, I
if
think
they're all trying to make jokes.
It works way better in early MCU. Like, I'm trying to think back to like Iron Man, Avengers, where the comedy,
like
it's
Thor
like,
was serious.
Yeah.
Cap was serious. Like Tony was like a mixed bag. Natasha, she was serious. Hawkeye was serious. But they all had like one really rare moment or something where they would make a comedic relief joke or some funny pun, and it fit.
Right.
Because it wasn't
this is like
natural for their
one-liners.
character.
It wasn't like
right.
The whole dialogue wasn't just to make a joke. It was like,
right.
Oh, we're having a dialogue. Here's a chance to make a quippy comment or a witty remark. Like, here's a good one that just popped in my head. Like the Avengers, when Tony and Iron Man are fighting, take out the suit. What are you? Genius, billionaire, playboy, and philanthropist. That's good. Like, you go, that's funny.
Yeah, because it fits his character because he has an ego and he's, you know, sarcastic asshole.
Right. Fits. It's not like they're like, oh yeah, well you're nothing without the suit. You just be a billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, and then they look at the camera and ha ha. It works the way they did it because it's thrown in there subtly. It's not so in your face.
Yeah. Just everything's not serious now. Even like the plots of the story, like ignoring the comedic like jokes. Like I feel like the plots are just like too goofy.
Yeah.
The fights aren't serious enough. Secret Invasion, like the most recent thing, like the ending fight with, you know, the two villains, or I guess now turned like hero, where they're literally the most powerful beings on the entire planet at that point because they got Super Scroll, like serum or whatever you want to call it.
It's another example
that
of a
fight,
character just like
that fight
getting
sucked,
handed
dude.
their
Like
powers.
Ignoring the awful CGI that was injected into that scene, those fights were just awful. Like it lasted like what, a minute, and she somehow kills him like with ease. Which
You didn't even really tell what was going on.
It was just dumb.
I know at some point
like,
they're flying around and then there's a hole in his chest.
dude, like literally, it wasn't a serious fight. Like I was like, oh shit, if Gavik wins, like then what? You know, like they're all doomed. I was just like, okay, like if he wins, like oh well.
Yeah, that whole show is I could do a whole like podcast about that specific show. It had so much potential and didn't really hit it. But yeah, that end fight was not it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the serious moments don't have build up, and they don't have the serious moments where you're on the edge of your seat. Like if he wins, like holy shit, like okay, like if he wins, like no big deal, whatever. I don't really care.
Yeah, there was really no ever sense of like
impeding doom if the villain. There was like,
even though they
like that feeling that Thanatos Thanos comes in and he's you know, he wins. You're like, oh shit. Like when he snaps, you're like, holy fuck, now what? Which I get, you're comparing a big bad to a lesser villain, but still.
Yeah, I don't know. Secret Invasion was. I don't really have much to say about it. I can't talk about that without being super negative.
Yeah, that was incredibly disappointing.
Okay, so what do we think about moving forward? What are we excited for?
Easily the Deadpool movie. It's the number one thing I'm looking forward to in MCU in quite some time. Like nothing else has come close aside from like Guardians 3.
Yeah.
It just looks so good. Like Ryan Reynolds kills it as Deadpool. Previous two movies, Hugh Jackman coming back into Wolverine, like absolutely fan favorite character and actor right there. I cannot wait to see them like work together. And he's actually going to be wearing like the suit with the mask. I'm super stoked about that. Plus, other Fox characters are coming back. I know it's kind of like some sort of send off they're doing. Like supposedly Deadpool's hunting them down and killing them. I don't really know if that's true.
Yeah, but I've also heard rumors that they'll be in Secret Wars or Kang Dynasty, one of those two. So I'm not sure what to think at this point.
I heard Hugh Jackman has a huge role to do in Secret Role.
Yeah,
Secret
I saw
Wars,
that he wants to be like the lead, I thought.
which
Or one of them.
I don't know, how true that is because
Right,
obviously
that's
it's
just a
all rumors
rumor.
until it's confirmed. But yeah, like I don't know how that would work honestly. Like, because I mean, he wanted to stop playing Wolverine a long time ago, which I get he's had a break and maybe he has that itch to play him more now. But
Yeah.
I love him and will always be like the Wolverine for live action. But
It could be.
I'm kind of wanting him to be replaced, if I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm super excited in Deadpool 3. I want him to be in that and not replaced at all. But going forward, I want a new Wolverine that can be around for a while. Because like Hugh Jackman's, he's aging, so there's only so much more
Almost
time
60.
he can play that character to like the extent of Wolverine, which
Yeah.
is super action packed and gruesome character.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely want to see him with the MCU characters because I think that's probably, if I had to assume, that would be one of the things that probably brought him back. Was it was never an option before. It was just the X-Men in their universe, and he did that for 15 years, whatever it was at that point. And he said, you know what, I'm done with this after Logan.
Yeah.
Well, now that he has a chance to join the MCU and interact with all these characters, he's like, all right, I'll do it.
Right, and like the thing is, if you have him interact with Steve Rogers, like Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, and like Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Iron Man, like if those three got on the screen, like
$1 trillion.
you know how much money that would bring in alone just to have all three of them
Be the first
interact
$1
with each
trillion
other.
movie.
I know, I would see that shit day one. Like I would be
Oh, yeah.
so hyped.
I would buy that shit the day they dropped.
That would be what would revive MCU if they did that for potentially a movie. Like who knows after that, but like.
Okay, you say it would revive it, but would it fall into the trap what they had with Endgame, where okay, it's over now, and then they
Yeah,
have
no,
to
that's what I'm saying.
restart?
Like that's why I said potentially one movie, like because who knows how it would end or what they would do going on after that.
Yeah.
Because Robert Downey Jr. He's not gonna stick around for Iron Man. Like
No, I think he would maybe do like a cameo if they did a Secret Wars type thing, but yeah, I don't see him wanting to stay around for any extended period of time anymore. He had his story and he had his ending, so.
yeah, and he's already said
like-
many times that he doesn't want it to feel like it was for nothing. If he comes back, he feels like it was for a waste. But if you do it in Secret Wars, where it's like a multiverse type thing, where
Right.
he's in another universe, then like
He just
I
has to
think
do it
that's
briefly.
acceptable. For Steve Rogers, they could do whatever they want. Maybe he wants to play Cap again. Who knows? But yeah, that would just be super hype if they had all three of them.
Yeah, that would make the internet go crazy.
Oh, without a doubt. And then like potentially reboot after that, and you get tease of the new X-Men and Fantastic Four. Then like again, you have people talking about MCU for a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I'm most excited for in terms of generalities, would be for the mutants and the Fantastic Four to come in. I just think it's been long overdue. Obviously, we couldn't do it before with the studios divvying up the properties, but the previous Fantastic Four projects have not been the greatest. There's some nostalgia with the 2000s ones. I would think it's universally.
That all they have.
Yeah, Jessica Alba. That's about it. Jessica Alba and the nostalgia feeling of it is about the only thing those movies have going for it. And then the newer
Don't even
Fantastic
get
Four,
started on the reboot.
That one is just, we don't talk about that one. So yeah, they need a good story. Mutants. I liked the X-Men, the Fox X-Men when it was coming out, but I've always wanted.
Yeah, like at the
activity.
time,
And I think
they
that's
did
the
Scott
kind of
dirty though. Boo.
Yeah, they did do him dirty.
Fact that they killed him off in the start of X-Men 3, I was so upset. Like,
Yeah, he's just kind of a whiny bitch in the second one. Well, in
yeah,
all of
they
them. I don't know.
like
I
he's
never liked
he's
Scott.
the next leader of
I never knew he was the
MCU
leader when I
if they
first
do
saw
it.
those. By the way.
Yeah, I mean we were kids when those came out.
Like, yeah, I was never like, oh yeah, Cyclops is the leader. No, like he just seemed like a little bitch to me. I always thought it was Storm, and I know she is sometimes.
Yeah.
She just seems like the boss.
Yeah, they got to make Scott the true leader of X-Men and just kind of going forward with MCU. Like, it's another reason why I'm saying if you have Hugh Jackman play Wolverine, like, he won't because he's going to take lead. So if you have someone else come in that starts a new Wolverine, then you can
Yeah.
easily have
I
Scott
love
take
Hugh
the...
Jackman as the role, but yeah, I think
yeah,
they do
definitely,
need someone
like-
younger that they can carry on.
If you
with
have
the
him
next 20
play
years.
Wolverine, I'm sorry, he's just going to be the lead by default.
Well, he'll be like the de facto, even if he's not technically the lead. People are only going to go to see Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Well, hey, that's for Deadpool and moving forward. I would say for like the immediate future, I'm pretty excited for Thunderbolts and Cap 4 because I think they are going to be like a turning point for Phase 5.
Yeah, if these movies suck, I really feel like MCU is in a really bad spot. They don't have to be amazing or anything crazy, but they have to be at least like a good 7 out of 10 movies. Like they have to be
They have to get it back on
average
track.
to solid.
They can't be
Like
the constant shit that we've been getting lately.
The stories need to be well written, the characters need to be written well, and like they need to have the movies in with an ending that makes sense and doesn't introduce more random bullshit.
Yeah, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like the problem now is that there's just so many loose ends. They need to have a definitive, here's a start, here's an end, here's a tease to what's happening. Not, let's set this up and then never touch it again.
Yeah, like have it be like post-credit scene, this is what's happening in the next movie that's coming up. Just do that.
The way they used to be. But now you have Thor, introduces Hercules at the end. Who knows when we'll see any payoff for that? Multiverse of Madness has Clea taking Strange saying, oh, you made incursions. When are we going to get payoff for that? Presumably sooner than later because incursions in multiverse, but still. Moon Knight left on
the Spider-Man.
Like, are we going to see him again? Is he done for? Spider-Man we're obviously going to see again. Hawkeye I think we'll see again. Like Hawkeye, not Kate Bishop. Just need some payoff. We need some payoff to start coming soon. It did set up in Phase 4. Hopefully we can bring it back.
Thor 5, like I know that's been rumored to be in development.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier briefly off air, but I think it could be all right if they do it right. As with anything, I hear it and I'm cautiously optimistic, but as we learn more, I
guess kind of like, what do you think the story could potentially be for him though?
I think we'll definitely see Hercules and the Greek gods come back into play because we did get that set up, and also Hercules is a big Avengers character. You could slot him in there at any point.
What about like a Thor classic villain like Enchantress? Like
what? Like who? Oh, Enchantress. I would love to see Enchantress. Obviously I would have liked to see her with Scourge, but Scourge is dead now, along with a ton of I'm about to say Cybertron, a ton of Asgard. So yeah, I would love to see Enchantress. They kind of blended her with Hela, I think, when they did Hela.
Yeah, she definitely give that vibe a little bit.
I doubt we'll see her, but she's always been on the top of my list. There's not really many classic Thor villains I can think of that I'd want to see. We saw Malekith. We've seen Frost Giants. Loki's been there from the beginning. We had Scourge. We had Hela. Who is there? Surtur. We already saw him. He destroyed Asgard.
Yeah.
I guess you could do some kind of dwarf or elf or something. Or not elf, troll.
Gore was like poorly done.
Yeah. I forgot about Gore, to be honest. I can't think of any other Thor villains. It has to be a conflict with Greece. How that will turn out, who knows? Maybe.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like Enchantress takes Hercules, like corrupts his mind, sends him after her Thor.
Yeah.
He ends up being like the big bad.
But they're already pretty hostile towards him because he fucking shot the lightning bolt through Zeus. So they're already openly hostile towards Thor. I don't know that they need Enchantress to fuck with him. We'll put that on the back burner and maybe theorize one day. Because I can't think on the spot.
Yeah, it's just kind of like shooting the shit.
And then the last thing I want to say here was for the future of the MCU, they need to fix Kang.
Like, what do you mean fix him? How? Like ignoring the actor drama, fix him, or fix him like
no, because I think he's innocent of that. But
until like that, like it's proven. Like you're just talking about the character that they've written so far.
Yes. Okay. So they need to do a better job of showcasing his abilities and his threat level, which I think is common with people who've seen him. But before the movie came out, I had the thought that maybe he would actually win the movie, and he would just say, "I need more time to prepare," and he just fucking disappear. That's like an ominous threat. That's like Thanos sitting in the chair. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where he beats Scott, he beats all them. They somehow just barely make it back to Earth. But he has the time chair, no restrictions. He just goes, I just need more time. Disappears. Ominous. That's looming over for the rest of Phase 4. Oh, is King gonna come back? Oh, what's he doing? Last we saw, he was,
it gives him something to.
Now he's just stuck in the quantum realm, and there's the Council of Kangs, and there's just 1,000 million of them, which we already knew from Loki. But now you don't know. When's he gonna show up again? Is he gonna be weak as fuck like he was before, or is he just gonna be a joke? Or would it be better to have him be okay, I'm back. Time to fuck shit up.
I mean, that's kind of how he was portrayed in that movie. He just said he kind of went around doing whatever he wanted. So why not have him be able to do that again? But I mean, I guess the issue with that is say the MCU takes 10 years or 5 years to get to the point where they can actually get those the movie out and built up to the movie. How are you going to explain it? What he's been doing for that long? Obviously he's been building his army, but should it really take King that long to build his army since he can go wherever whenever he wants, whenever he wants.
But that would also work, like, so if he escapes in the end of the movie rather than being defeated like that, he can show up wherever. Now we don't know. Loki might change that with Victor Timely and all that shit. But now we know he's not a threat currently at this very moment. That Kang, I should say, because I think that's supposed to be like the main Kang that we're supposed to be scared of. And all the Council Kangs is just like another obstacle for him to get over. But like right now, he's not a threat at all. He's nothing. He's dead. Whereas if you have him escape like that, potentially, yeah. If you have him escape and say, I just need more time, he could show up at any random fucking moment and just obliterate them. Like he could show up in Cap 4. He's not going to because we already know who the villains and all that are. But I'm just saying that gives the option for him to show up whenever, which he still could now. I mean, but now that raises more questions like, wasn't he stuck in the quantum realm? How'd he get out now? You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be a cool way of kind of handling time traveling character. Have him just like start fucking around with everyone. Right. You know, hey, here's a new Spider-Man movie. Boom, here's King randomly. You know, hey, here's the new Thor 5 movie. Boom, here's King randomly.
I actually heard in the rumor that King might be the villain in Thor 5, but we'll save that for another time. I was going to say, you could also have him being like Thanos was, you know. Yeah. He sends Loki in Avengers 1. He has Gamora and Nebula working for Ronan to look for the Power Stone. He has people doing this shit while he's pulling the strings. That's what I was looking for. He's pulling the strings from behind the curtain. You could have that with Kang. You have, say, Cap 4. Go through the whole movie, no mention of Kang. Post-credit scene. You see Kang meet with the leader or whatever, because I think the leader's supposed to be the villain. You see Kang meet with the leader. He's handing him some future technology that explains how the leader came to power, which maybe they'll still do. But with the way they did Kang, it can't be that same one.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Like, have him be behind the scenes pulling the strings.
Like providing tech or information.
The issue with that is he's not like Thanos in that sense. I feel like he's straight up, I'll just do it myself. Like, I really don't want any other minions. Like, yeah, I have my army because they fight the entire planet for me. But if I'm just trying to go take out a couple of people, like, why doesn't he just do it himself? Like, he's so powerful. Like, jump in, fight him, jump out.
But I think that's a good way to show that, you know, these Avengers are different than all the other Avengers. They can actually
compete with
like, so he needs to turn to
that's what I'm saying,
teaming up with other villains and shit.
He's said to have fought so many Avengers, like he's lost track of how many he's killed. So like to him, they're nothing. So I guess you could use that of like, yeah, I'm not gonna waste more time fighting more Avengers. Like I know I can easily kill them in like 2 seconds. Here's some like random tech, go fight them for me. Like I have better things to do. Sure, you could do that, but I feel like you're gonna be approaching that Thanatos or not? God, the Thanos, the Thanos kind of like way of doing it. And I doubt the MCU is gonna want to have these villains compared like that because I mean King's the next big bad that the MCU is gonna have.
Yeah, but
so
that wasn't what I was saying though. What you were saying before, not that like he has to team up with them. I was getting like, more at the like the Avengers in the MCU universe, Earth 616. Even though that's not right, that's a whole different issue. The Avengers of Earth 616 are different than all the other Avengers he killed. He's like, oh, I've killed so many Avengers, so they're not a threat to him. But obviously Ant-Man fucks him up, so he's already thinking, okay, well, this guy did this. But if he would have won and keeps coming back and they keep fucking him up, then he goes, okay, these guys are stronger. I need to team up with villains, or I need someone else to try something. I can't be directly involved now. So he gives
I see
technology,
what you're saying.
Or he gives, he fucking finds Deadpool and says, hey, you need to kill all these characters. Just for an example. I don't know exactly how it would go, but I just feel like
I see what you're saying.
Him using others because the Avengers are too much of a threat for him to handle on his own in this universe would be a good way for them to have him be like the looming threat without him being in every single movie.
But then like my question is, how do you explain why the other Avengers that he's beaten are so weak?
I mean, you can't really. It's like, how do you explain Miles Morales being the Spider-Man to not fall victim to the canon event? Like, just for the story, it has to be this specific character is different than all the other ones. Like, I think there's no way around it.
I'm just saying, like, how do you like explain that and how do you show that? Because I feel like if that's the approach they do, I feel like a lot of people would be like, I thought he was supposed to be the next big bad. I thought he's supposed to be stronger than Thanos. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I guess. But that's like, where it comes ahead in Kang Dynasty. So like they've already done the mistake of introducing him so early. Not a mistake. I mean, I do like that they introduced him early, but that's why this whole shit's coming up because, oh, how is he Thanos when Ant-Man could beat him? Well, if you show him continually being beat until the point where the movie is his name's literally in the movie title, Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, and you show how devastatingly he beats them, even worse than Thanos, let's say. So much worse that they have to go to other multiverses to defeat him again.
I agree. Like he shouldn't have been introduced so early, and I feel like he also shouldn't have been beaten so easily by Ant-Man out of everyone. But
yeah,
because he's like right now he's been introduced as like he's pretty fucking weak, which exactly. I get. He was stuck in that realm. He was nerfed because of like the events that were happening. But
And he does say
It's
he only has access to part
right,
of his
like he's
power.
not full power. So like I understand that, but at the same time, like how do you go forward and say Kang will literally destroy everything in existence? Like, because right now I'm just like, ha, yeah, okay, Thor could just straight up solo his ass. Which again, I get he's nerfed, so you give him more power and he's more of a threat. How do you put him against Thor right now? Because like if Scott goes to Thor and goes, hey, this guy could literally just wipe out entirety of time. Like he could be worse than Thanos. Like imagine like everyone being snapped, but it's permanent.
Yeah.
You know, Thor's not gonna fuck around. He's gonna be like, yeah, I'm going for the head.
Well, yeah, he's doing that regardless because of his past experience.
Right, and he has a past experience, and Thor's way stronger now. So like, how does he fight Thor? Like Thor would literally solo him with ease. Like, how do you build him up to the point where he's actually a threat to everyone? And, like, it takes the entire, like, team or planet to actually straight up take him down. That's my issue with King right now. He feels way too weak, and it feels like there's no explanation of how they're going to make him so overpowered that, like, it takes potentially a couple of movies to, like, take him down.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't know how they're going to do it. I just think they have to do it somehow. They have to fix Kang. How they go about it's up to them, but that's like the one major issue I have with Phase 4, because they say Kang's gonna be the big bad. He's in 2 projects, and first one he's a pussy, doesn't do shit. Second one, he's not the big bad.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like Thanos had so much buildup, which I get. They're yeah, like, and they're rushing this a little bit more, which you know that's their fault. But like, I just don't see how they make Kang the next big bad, and I don't see how they're gonna make him better or worse, you know, in terms of like strength and like what he can do than what Thanos did to everyone, because we've seen the lasting effects that it's had, even though it got undone.
Okay, well that just made me think. Now I think where they fucked up was having one person be the big bad after Thanos.
I mean,
they've
like
clearly gone the direction of everything separated right now, and it seems like we're gonna have different characters team up with specific other sets of characters. Like
I mean,
the Earth team, the Space team, the Mystical team. Let's just go with that for now. Their problem is, oh yeah, Kang's the big bad. Okay, well, who are the Earth people fighting? Because right now it's Kingpin, it's Valkyrie, it's the Thunderbolts, it's gonna be Sentry, it's gonna be Ross. There's so many Earth villains, and how do they relate to Kang?
Yeah, they don't. Like, no one relates to King except for King himself.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the problem is them saying, well, he's going to be the next big bad. They shouldn't have done that. They should have been like 2 or 3 so that they could split focus, say, okay, these characters obviously have nothing to do with this. They're going to go fight this guy, which maybe they still will do. But that's the problem was them going, Kang is the big bad, and everything in the multiverse saga is leading up to him. Well, we just went a whole fucking phase with seeing him twice and seeing him being a piece of shit. So,
yeah, like this entire phase like did nothing for King and
yeah.
the character. Like it literally you could have been like, all right, guys, I want you to guess who the next big bad is. He's somewhere in Phase 4. Like, I would have been like, oh, yeah, it's Kang once he shows up in Ant-Man, because, like, yeah, obviously, like, you know, Kang from the comics fucks everyone up. Then in the MCU, Kang gets absolutely bodied for the most part in that movie, and then you're like, well, maybe he's dead, maybe he's not dead, you know? Maybe that death gives him an increased power because of, since he was absorbed into that machine. Maybe that's how he gets his strength, but it's like, I'd have been like, honestly, I don't know who the next big bad is. Like, he doesn't feel like it. Like, I truly don't know.
Of the people we've got, I would want it to be Kingpin right now, because we've gotten the most Earth-based stories. Like, let me go back and look again. We have WandaVision. She kind of did her shit with Doctor Strange, so ignore that. Falcon and Winter Soldier, they would fit in with Kingpin perfectly. Loki's dealing with Kang. Black Widow and her characters, they could deal with Kingpin. Like Yelena, Red Guardian, you know, whatever happens in there, and then they could fight him. Shang-Chi, he could fight Kingpin, like if he goes to New York or something, starts helping Spider-Man or Daredevil out or something like that, because they're both martial artists. I could see them hooking up. Hawkeye obviously has Kingpin. Moon Knight even, he could fight fucking Kingpin. Maybe Kingpin's doing some shit in well,
who are you talking about?
The Moon Knight god, what's his name? Anyway, like maybe he's fucking with like some kind of statue of his, and I know Moon Knight is traditionally like a protector of him.
Khonshu, something like that, right?
That sounds right, yeah. He's like Khonshu's protector and guardian, like the temple and all that. So they could have Kingpin fucking with that. Moon Knight has to go stop it, blah, blah, blah. Ms. Marvel, she's on Earth, Kingpin. Like, all these would line up so well. She-Hulk, Kingpin could work. Wakanda Forever, Black Panther.
They definitely could have done like...
Kingpin should definitely be the big bad right now, as far as everything that we've seen.
And everyone knows him, too. Like, he's a pretty popular and well-known, like, villain. I mean King is, too, but I don't feel like to the extent that Kingpin is.
Kingpin has the added benefit of being in the Daredevil show, which a lot of Marvel fans, not all, but a lot have seen, and he's just a more household name because Spider-Man, Daredevil, and he shows up like everywhere. Hawkeye, so, and he'll probably be an Echo. I don't really have any other thoughts. Do you?
No, not really. I just don't know where they're going with King. I don't see how they make him the big bad that everyone's gonna fear. Which, I mean, we still have time. They still have a lot of projects, especially with Loki season 2. I think that if they don't do anything with Loki season 2 to make him the big bad, to really show you why he is and like how they continue to push King forward, I feel like there's not gonna be much hope. At least for me, and convincing me that King is anything special.
Yeah, I agree. Loki has to do some heavy lifting here, season 2, to really show.
It has to introduce a lot for King. Like,
right.
Loki season 2 just needs to be pretty much King. Like,
and from the little bit we have seen, we have one trailer, and then that little post credits at the end of Guardians or Ant-Man to set up, like, so we know Kang will be a big part of it, at least that version of Kang, but they have to do something for the whole of Kang, I think.
Yeah, like they need to start tying everyone together. They need to start showing why Kang is a threat to everyone, why everyone needs to care about him. So far, it's not doing it for me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say, so I'm gonna leave it at that. But actually, real quick, I just want to read through all the like confirmed and rumored shows real quick, and just stop me if you hear something you want to talk about. So we got Loki season 2, we got the Marvels coming out, X-Men 97.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah, I am excited for that one. I gotta rewatch.
I hope they don't
show.
try to tie that into the MCU in any way. I hope it's just its own like animated show. They don't need to tie everything together. Just have that be a standalone. Like,
I agree. Let animation be animation and let live action be live action. We got What If season 2, which I'm kind of indifferent about. I thought the first one was okay, but
yeah, nothing special.
Echo.
I seriously don't care. I don't know why they're putting time and money into that show.
Yeah, we've talked about it, but I have no interest in that. If they release it binge style, maybe it'll be better because you can just get it all out of the way and be like, wasn't terrible, instead of having to sit through 6 to 9 weeks of, is this gonna get good? So we'll see with that one. And then there's Ironheart that comes out after that.
I don't really care about that either. If they try to make it to where that's the Iron Man replacement, it's going to go so poorly. Everyone's going to hate it. I don't want them to try to push that as this is the new Iron Man. Like, if they do that, I think they're seriously shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I don't think you can replace it. I mean, fucking Happy says it in No Way Home, to go back to our Spider-Man talk. He says, you're not Iron Man, or you're not Tony Stark. No one will be. You can't be Tony Stark. Don't
try to replace that character, sorry. Like, that's the one character in the MCU you literally can't try to replace.
Right, and I mean, yeah, I agree. I was gonna say Cap too, but they're making Falcon Cap. But that's something that's happened before, like in the comics, so that's a little more forgivable. Iron Man has never, like Tony Stark Iron Man has never been replaced. I mean, there's War Machine steps in, or like
like you've had War Machine, like
no one takes the mantle of Iron Man.
Pepper Potts, like you've had
Rescue.
Other heroes wear the suits that he's made for them, but they've never taken the role of Tony or Iron Man.
Exactly. There's only one Iron Man. There are Iron Man like characters, but can't be Iron. I don't want Ironheart to turn into that. And then after that we got Agatha, which I'm okay with because I like WandaVision. So I think there's promise with Agatha if they do it right. And also from what I've heard, I like some of the actors in it, like the fuck's Aubrey Plaza. Love her.
Agreed.
I'm hoping it's good.
Yeah, I know nothing about the story of that, but I'm definitely down for more magic stuff.
I lied. I do know a little bit about that. I think Wiccan is supposed to be a focus.
Couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
Well, then after that we got Daredevil, which I am excited for.
Super excited for it.
Have you watched the Daredevil episode of She-Hulk or no?
Yeah, that's one with the yellow suit, right?
Yeah. I liked what we got in that show from him, so I'm excited for his own show. And then also we'll have Echo, who could interact with him, Hawkeye, Spider-Man. Like, I feel like they could all interact with him. So.
Then Daredevil and Spider-Man, please, like, give me that interaction for a little bit.
That's probably, like, number one on my wish list after
Deadpool and Punisher, like, I know Punisher's
I forgot about him.
Yeah, like Punisher, I know he's not getting his own show, but like, isn't he hinted to be in the new Daredevil show?
I
swear I saw something. Maybe it's just a different bullshit rumor.
But I'm pretty sure John Bernthal has like confirmed he's coming back.
Yeah, I know it was confirmed that he's joining the MCU, but I swear I read something about he's going to be in the Daredevil show. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know if they've officially announced what project he'll show up in, but yeah, I do think he's back, like for sure.
But I need more interactions of them because they nailed it when they did the Punisher and Daredevil Netflix series.
Yeah, season 2 of Daredevil when he shows up is like peak. And then we got Deadpool, which we've talked about at length. And then after that we have Captain America and Thunderbolts back to back, which I think will be good. I think those will be the turning point along with Deadpool 3. Those 3 in a row, it goes Deadpool, Captain America, Thunderbolts, I think will be banger.
No, Deadpool will definitely be the turning point. I know we already talked about this, but it definitely will be. The other two, like, they have to be, and if they're not, then I think MCU is gonna kind of be hurting for a little bit.
And then we have Blade on the schedule after that, but that
Like,
thing has had so many problems and pushbacks.
Yeah, it's been
and
canceled
everything
so
that
many times.
I don't know what to think.
Like, Blade's a cool character. I've never been like a huge Blade fan, but he is a cool character, and he can introduce more of the horror side to the MCU with kind of like the dark vampire take he brings in. Plus, again, interacting with Spider-Man be neat. But I don't really see Blade happening. I feel like it's been pushed back and canceled so many times, and I know they've had a couple different writers or directors step down and be replaced. So I don't know if it'll ever happen.
Yeah. Not much to say beyond. I hope it brings in more mystical elements and
more darkness, more like creepiness to the MCU would be.
Yeah, more Werewolf by Night.
Then
we have Fantastic Four on the docket. That one is one to look forward to. I just want to know who they're casting. There's been so many rumors.
Dude, there's been so many rumors, and I'm just it's actually kind of annoying how many rumors there have been. Because I feel like I see one every other day. Like Maggie Robert, whatever her name is,
Margot
that plays yeah, she was heavily rumored, and then she finally I think officially said no to it. Adam Driver was rumored to play Mr. Fantastic, then that was declined, but then that's back in talks. Apparently he's meeting with them soon or has. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't see him playing Mr. Fantastic. He just does not give me that vibe.
I'm on the opposite spectrum. I thought he would have been good.
He's not gonna be bad, obviously. He's a good actor. It's just I don't see him fitting that role very well, and I don't see him sticking to that role either.
Is it because you can only see him as Kylo?
No, not that. I just to me, Reed Richards is super nerdy, right? He's super nerdy, and he's a little bit like Tony in the sense of he has a giant ego and he's an asshole. Adam Driver just does not portray that nerdiness that I think the character needs, and that's kind of where I'm going with that.
That's fair. I think he could pull it off personally, but I can see.
Yeah, I'm not against him playing it. I just think there's better options.
That's fair. I mean, Krasinski would have been the perfect option.
Yeah, they're definitely not doing that though. That was just fan service.
They stated multiple times that was just a one-time thing, and I, obviously 100% agree them. But I'm just saying he would have been perfect if they would have done it a lot sooner.
You know the actor from Always Sunny, the guy that plays Dennis.
Glenn you ever seen that? Yeah, I've heard him. I don't know.
I know that was a good fan cast.
I couldn't see him as anyone other than Dennis.
I mean, he kind of fits it. He's got that asshole, sarcastic, it's all about me attitude. He plays that role really well.
He does, because he's very narcissistic in that show. But does he have the nerdy vibe, though? I don't see that.
Yeah,
that's the nerdy part I don't see from him. He could definitely pull off the asshole. I just want to find out who the fucking cast is. The only things we have confirmed are Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Those really go without saying. And then we have Armor Wars, which is supposed to come out at some point, which, I mean, I think that'll be all right. I hope they definitively answer the Rhodey question.
Dude, there's no way. If they actually said that he was kidnapped in Civil War, oh my god, I'm going to be so upset.
That might be my breaking point for the MCU.
If they actually do that, I would just be no, I'm done.
Yeah, I think that would be the point.
It would run so much between him and Tony, and he would have zero, I wouldn't even give a shit about Rhodey anymore. I'd be just kill him off, right fucking now. He'd be a nothing character. You wouldn't even know him because he had zero interaction with Tony essentially. He had Iron Man 2 and then everything leading up to Civil War and then it wouldn't be everything leading up to it. When did he get kidnapped?
It would be after the accident, so everything up until the airport.
Oh yeah, I guess when he has the accident. So and he gets replaced. Then absolutely not.
I don't
make it. That. He was kidnapped at some point after Endgame.
Right, and people are saying the gown is the main evidence. Dude,
it's just a hospital gown. They all look the same.
At every fucking visit, if you're going to be getting an MRI and shit, they're going to put you in a gown. Duh. If you're going to the same hospital, same fucking gowns. So I don't like that argument.
It just happened to where he went for a checkup for his health.
Right.
He got kidnapped in the hospital.
Perfect. That's a perfect explanation. All right, but then after Armor Wars, there's only a couple rumored stuff, I believe. I don't think they've been confirmed. We got Vision Quest. That one, I feel okay, whatever. I feel they could tie that one in with Armor Wars pretty well, though.
They could. But do people really want Vision back? Do people really care about Vision anymore now?
I mean, at the time of WandaVision, I was yeah, give me Vision. Now, since nothing's happened and doesn't seem like anything ever will happen, I'm kind of whatever.
Yeah, and especially with Wanda being where she is now, what does it really matter?
Yeah, well, that's that one. And then there's the rumored Wakanda TV series, which if they're getting rid of TV shows, that one's probably canceled. And I don't really care that much.
Yeah, I don't care, especially with Chadwick gone. Rip. Black Panther just doesn't feel the same.
Agreed. I will say with that though that I did like Wakanda Forever more than the first one, but I do love Chadwick.
Yeah, I don't like the whole like her being the Black Panther. I
That doesn't
forgot her
bother
name.
me so much, to be honest.
Like I don't care in the sense of like she is. It's just it felt too soon, I guess.
Right, that's the main thing I would say. Which it's out of their control though. Like if that would have
Also,
been a conscious decision
she's
they made to do that, then I would have been pissed. But with the real life circumstances, I kind of just had to move forward that way.
Also, I heard she was like an awful person in real life to work with. Like,
Really?
she apparently delayed that movie so long because she's such a like diva and drama queen, super asshole person. So like, I feel like she shouldn't get to have a spotlight like that if she's what they say.
I didn't know that, and I would agree. Like if she's gonna be difficult, then fuck her.
Yeah.
Then let's see, we have the Zombies show that's supposed to be a spinoff of What If. That one I don't really care about. Shang-Chi 2, and I think there's supposed to be a Shang-Chi show that was rumored, like about it revolved around his sister, I think.
Yeah, wasn't that canceled though, I thought?
I don't know. I just remember as I'm reading this. Maybe it's canceled, I'm not sure. If it is, I don't really care about his sister.
Yeah,
But I do want to
don't
see
really
a
care.
sequel movie for him.
Yeah, that'd be pretty neat.
And then the very last thing we have here rumored is, and it might have been confirmed, Wonder Man, but it has no release date.
Like a movie?
I think it's supposed to be a show.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I don't see a movie going well for that. He's not known at all.
No, he's like C-list.
I could see like a little special, like maybe 4 episodes, one short.
I think it would work perfect for them to do one of those special presentations. Just, hey, here's the basics, here's where he ends, and we'll bring him in at some point.
Like 45 minutes and call it good.
Yeah, that works for me.
Kind of like the Adam Eve episode they did for Invincible. Like they gave her like a 40-minute episode, and that worked out perfectly.
Example of using the short special presentation to tell the origin stories. That's perfect. But yeah, those are all the projects coming. We talked about all that shit. That is all I got. Any last thoughts?
Excited for potential revive of MCU, but also optimistic that it's not going to live up to expectations with what we've currently been getting.
Yeah, cautiously optimistic is what I'd say.
Yeah,
I'm hopeful for the future.
Excited for a few things, but if those few things don't turn out well, then I would say my hope for it is kind of in the drain.
I'm hopeful given real life circumstances, because it seems like those are improving, which will hopefully lead to a quality improvement.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, like they seem to have kind of like stepped back a little bit and started reassessing what they want.
Yeah. Well,
but who knows? Up in there. Hope for the best.
Can only hope for the best. Well, this has been the Blank Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Peace.
See ya.